stand for the pledge? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. First item on our agenda, as usual, approve the minutes from December 11th.
Yes, that's move approval.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
It was nice to get the minutes, well in advance. Thank you.
Well, next up, update from the Ely Area Ambulance Service.
The first item out in financials, the status still not complete. The auditor has an issue because the entire billing service is not responding to his inquiries. And he can't work with that. So our approach is, Dusty Roberts is studying through the MSRB and other sources how many ambulance services are having a problem with the prior billing company. I believe the number is at 7 or 8 right now that he's got. Once we hit 10 to 12, we will write a letter to Pete Ellison, the Attorney General, asking for him to possibly step in, force an issue with him.
Yeah.
So until that's done, we don't have a lot.
Huh. Well, that's gonna, that's not good.
I don't know what else.
Although at least it's just not you having trouble with them, I mean, that is,
Right.
you know, so, okay.
Right.
There's a weather problem then, yeah. Nothing. That's all I, what, any comments?
No.
Okay. So that's the audit status and what do you got for budget and subsidy, then, what is, I don't know. What do you got on that?
Pardon?
Chuck, what do you got for budget for 2024/subsidy?
We're reworking the budget for 2024, reviewing 2023 over again, and moving forward. We are getting revenue in on all the calls that go to the service. It's hard to balance that out today, since a lot of money came in and was building up last year. So we got a nice chunk in the beginning, and it's starting to level off. I hate to say what that is because we don't know if it's gonna be consistent or not. So our board is gonna meet again to redo the 2024 budget based on what we are actually seeing now. First time it was presented was do the best you can with the numbers you got. I think it'll be redone. And as such, this board is not requesting a contribution at this meeting. We request the joint powers meets in a month. And we'll have that 2024 budget all reworked, and we'll have a better position of where we need to go.
Terry.
Any questions?
Okay, Jerry. Keep going with the meeting.
Terry.
Hey, Terry. Acknowledge him.
Chairman, last meeting, we were saying we were collecting 10,000, 11,000, remember a month? The last 2 months, we had one of 23 and one of 30-some thousand we collected, so.
That's,
So we collected almost
that's-
60,000 in 2 months instead of 22, so
that's considerably better.
I guess we'll,
Yes.
we'll let you know if things are picking up. But there's no agency, like, really, out there.
Well, next we need to know.
Did you hang up on me?
No, we're here.
yet. We're having a
Well,
meeting,
it's-
we're having
it's
a
a wall.
meeting, Terry.
Anyway, yeah, we can hear you, Terry. Can you hear us? Can you hear anything?
Open the door to the whole city of Winton here.
Okay, well,
Can't hear, you can't hear.
yeah.
Yep. I've had you on there twice, I'll try it again. Hang on. All right, Derek, can you hear us?
Can you hear anything yet?
Can you hear me now, Derek?
I can.
All right, we're just gonna put you on speakerphone. There you go.
Oh, great. Well, so, you would like a meeting in another month, that's your request. Yeah. Huh? You want to do that at the end, or you want to set a meeting, pick a date right now? Okay. Okay. Financials.
At the previous meeting, the Joint Powers Board passed a budget for the facility operation totaling $24,700. Those invoices went out and all of those have been paid. That's on the building operations, the invoices in yellow. Then the next section is the per capita, and all of those have been paid as well. You can see Town of Morris, City of Winton, City of Ely, Fall Lake Township. So the action that was passed at the previous board meeting, those invoices were sent out and funds have been receipted. As far as the current bills list, that is on the next page, and just as an ongoing running total of bills paid by the joint powers, you can see the newest bills are the ones highlighted in yellow, and that was the subsidy payment to the Ely Area Ambulance Service for $50,240, an invoice to TKDA for continued building design for our feasibility report for $490. Another utility bill for the building for $444.94. Invoice for agendas at $65 to the Ely Echo. And then another payment to the Ely Area Ambulance Service from Winton when that per capita payment was received of $1,670. And then final bill was on the 26th of January, $495 for facility utility bills. So those are the bills presented for the board's approval.
Okay. So this is all stuff from. No,
Good job, Harold.
Thanks.
I'll move approval of those presented. And then discussion if we could.
Yep.
Harold, the utility bills, those come out of the building operations, correct?
Correct.
But like the agendas and the TKDA,
That'll also come out of the joint powers bills. Correct.
out of the per capita or the
Building operation
building
budget.
operations?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
But in your statement here, they're kind of put together, correct?
Correct.
That's-
We carry one fund balance in one account, and then they're just separated out as far as the budget. So that's where the budget of 24/7 was passed, and then that money was receipted into that account, and then we'll continue to debit that account as Joint Powers approves bills.
Is there supposed to be some kind of reimbursement when we get that money?
From USDA Rural Development, when we do get a grant agreement, and we do start the process of building the project, then we'll request reimbursement on the design fees. So in your packet, we also have a proposal to finish that design, and that's how that would work. We'd have to pay it up front and then get reimbursed.
Okay. Back pay on that.
Okay. So with that motion and the second, and the explanation,
I'll make a motion.
Let's move in.
Barry moved and seconded, you just had to discuss, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay. Old business, hospital study.
Okay, I can, before I kind of give some real preliminary results related to the hospital study, I do want to make a public statement on behalf of the hospital regarding ambulance services, and this is mostly just to clarify the hospital's position as to where we are at. So, the Ely Bloomington Community Hospital, EBCH, Ely Area Ambulance Service, EEAS, the Joint Powers Board, JPB, comprised of the City of Ely, City of Winton, the Town of Morse, and the Town of Fall Lake, are involved in discussions regarding the provision of ambulance services in the area. After hearing various rumors and misunderstandings about these matters, EBCH would like to take this opportunity to state the following for the record. As a statement of general principles, EBCH is committed to providing the best care for patients, including emergency care and transports. For some time now, concerns about adverse outcomes and delays in care prompted EBCH to explore how to improve local emergency transport services. Again, this was done in the spirit of providing the best possible emergency services for the community. EBCH will continue to advocate for long-term solutions to rural EMS challenges that impact our community and so many others. EBCH will also continue to seek collaboration with EMS providers and agencies as we seek to innovate our healthcare delivery efforts. EBCH formerly provided ambulance services and is a user of ambulance services and therefore has considerable valuable input to provide. EBCH, EEAS, and the JPB are separate legal entities with their own independent governing bodies. None controls either of the others. The Minnesota Emergency Medical Services Regulatory Board, EMSRB, Emergency Medical Services license under discussion is held by EEAS. Neither EBCH nor the Joint Powers has authority to transfer or otherwise affect such license. EBCH has not taken any steps with the EMSRB to transfer or otherwise affect EEAS's license. EBCH, and to our knowledge, the JPB has no control over EEAS finances. EBCH has no control over how much, if any, funds the JPB should or must contribute to EEAS operations. The GPB has no control over how much, if any, funds EBCH should or must contribute to EEAS operations. EBCH respects the decisions EEAS and the JPB make for what they feel are in the best interests of their respective organizations. Again, just to clarify, we are here strictly to collaborate, to try to work together to find a solution for sustainable, strengthened emergency medical services within our communities. And I wanted that clarified due to phone calls and emails and a significant amount of other communication that happens behind the scenes that we are not, when I say we, the hospital are not involved in. So, as far as the hospital study, just to clarify, when I checked in with SafeTech Solutions, they had received the final information from Ely Ambulance Service as of Tuesday or Wednesday last week. So, based on that, and based on the outcomes of any conversations or these joint powers meetings, they will then determine the scope of the project as we move forward. Right now, there are at least 3 different viable solutions for innovative approaches to EMS within our region. For me to speak on the outcomes or any of those potential solutions would be speculative at this point until Ely Area Ambulance Service makes a decision as to how they want to proceed with their finances and their operations. So I'm open for questions, comments.
If I might, I have no disagreement with what Patty just said. Okay? It's in the best interest of the community that the hospital and the ambulance service are tightly joined at the hip to provide the best emergency services possible in the area. Our biggest dilemma has been money, for the most part. That's why we've been meeting so long. But we live in a community that is ripe with rumors. And the last thing I will ever listen to is when somebody said, I heard something. Well, if they can verify who, what, where they heard it from, is just gossip. Okay? Part of the rumor mill. I just see that the contention that's between the ambulance service and the hospital may not be as bad as portrayed in the public eye. But people like to stir the pot. So I'll be communicating with Patty, I don't care. I have 2 interests. Yes, I'm on the ambulance board as a chair. But I'm also an elderly citizen in this community. But when I have to call 911, I want this crew to show up, Dusty and his crew. Okay? I mean, we can get there within 10 minutes from the location we're at because the staff is there. They jump in the bus and they take off and they do it. We're just crippled on transports right now with unpaid on call. I have no qualms with what Patty just said. We'll wait and see what the study says. We'll see what the newly formed committee says. We'll see what the legislature does. It's in their hands of how they proceed. I don't know if there's any, we could just say, okay, we'll just turn it over to the hospital. Well, now they've got the dilemma. Okay, so we're just transferring a problem at that point. So we need to work together to make sure we coordinate together to be a team.
Right, and from my understanding right now, part of the biggest reason hospital is looking at what's going on is because they're having a problem getting transports when they need them. And that's a huge part of this, a huge part of the service. Dusty?
That's just not Ely Ambulance. I get calls from Cook, I get calls from Hibbing, I get calls from Virginia. All services need transport, it's everywhere. It's just not Ely Ambulance.
Greater Minnesota is suffering throughout the state. It's not just here. It's not just Nashua having a
No,
closed.
yeah, I know, and we're all aware that this is a problem.
They're all
and that's
losing
why
money.
Right, and
And
that's why the
that's the key.
legislature's
If the
looking at stuff.
legislature stepped up and provided some funding, we wouldn't be having these
Okay.
discussions.
But right now,
Right, but in the meantime, I mean, we all recognize that problem, but based on how communication has been going, which is very little, and very little consistent communication, we're never going to find resolution. And unfortunately, the most consistent communication that, from the hospital's perspective, that we get is typically in the public forum, which is unfortunate, but that is, you know, these are where we need to have these conversations then, and have these crucial conversations. We're not going to solve any issues with just continuing to finance a system that is broken. And right now, I can tell you, based on the legislative conversations that I have been having, this year is not a budget year. It's a policy year in the state, right now in the state government process. So there will not be any decisions as to funding requests. If there is, it's going to be minimal. Where the money is going to go is going to be into policy. And if we don't work together, we aren't going to be able to impact that policy. We might not always agree with how we get there, but really this is something that we have to look at from a community-wide organizational perspective. And when I say organizational, I'm talking about EMS system as a whole.
There is gonna be money given out to ambulances this year, I think, for politicians. I've been to all the meetings, probably more than you've been. And I know Heidi was at a meeting, and she'll tell you what happened. We had a person there from Cook. What did she say? They had 4 EMTs, that's all they had. Cook Hospital, 4 EMTs. And it's like that all over. I mean, Virginia, 777,000 they're gonna lose this year. They need money this year. It's not just us, it's all the way down there.
Well, okay, I think we all can agree that it's a problem for everybody, and that's why it's nice at least.
And our legislature meeting, I know Heidi was there and some of these people were there. This is the first year that we did get the federal government involved, the aides. They brought it back to the senators and both Pete Stobler, and they're jumping on it to get a Medicare raised through the federal deal. They didn't know what was going on here, but we brought it up at our legislature meeting. Last year, nothing was done, but this year something's getting done because Virginia, Hibbing, they're all jumping on board on it. So it's not just the Ely area, so. The more meetings you go to, the more people you talk to, it helps, let me tell you.
Excuse me. Patty, so right now the SafeTech Solutions has all the information they've intended to gather?
Yes, they, as of last week, yes.
Did they give you an idea on how long it would take to compile?
I can tell you that I will push them. They have some preliminary results already, potential solutions. One of them is a regional model that they're looking at. One of them is a model that would depend on who holds the license for the ambulance service. Because again, just as Chuck stated, the hospital has similar issues as EMS does. You know, we have workforce issues, we have legislative issues, we have finance issues, reimbursement issues. That is systemic, across healthcare and EMS. So, and then of course you always have to remember that there is the one solution that it seems like we are consistently headed towards, and that is to do nothing, status quo.
Just to let everybody know that we've had meetings with Patti Banks here, I think Scott was there, Chuck was there. When people that were putting this study together, we did get a call, and we went a good half hour, 45 minutes, gave all the information they needed on their study, right, Patty?
During the interview process,
Well, that's what I'm getting at, so I think we made a little progress there. So if we do get a call, we do jump on it.
Heidi?
Since the legislative session is coming up, I know that it would seem that if we did have a viable solution, if there were people that were interested in talking with our legislators, I think they would be very interested in hearing a solution, a viable solution, a viable option. I think they would be definitely willing to pilot a program. I feel like just knowing who we have down in St. Paul, that would be a very good viable option for our area.
And I think that's what they're looking for.
Right.
You know, they are
They're
looking for,
answers.
yeah, if we can come up with a solution, it doesn't mean that it has to be perfect right away, but it is something that they could look to model in other rural communities. And it's not just in our area or our region, you know, this could be a nationwide model. But again, until we can have the crucial conversations together, you know, like I'm hoping to be able to start and do, without that happening, we're never going to get anything, you know, we're never going to get anything off the ground. And we need cooperation from the service itself. Because honestly, you know, like they said, they are the ones that are doing the work. And change is hard. And change creates fear and anxiety. But my messaging has always been, we have to control and impact the change where we can. And we can't be afraid to, because if we don't jump to be innovative and create some type of a solution, we're just going to be spinning our wheels.
I know we had a Rams meeting last Thursday, and they're going down the Capitol in the middle of March, and I was invited, but I'm gonna be out of town, I can't make it, but the top priority for Rams is gonna be, when they go down there, is push for our ambulance services up here. And we do have a lobbyist, and they're gonna push for it too, so.
Well, we're going in the right direction, it looks like.
Do you have future meetings that you need to have, and do you have a time set up?
Yes,
Right
I will be, right now, SafeTech is actually waiting to hear back from me after tonight's meeting. And I will give them guidance and direction as to how to finish the scope, you know, of this project. And if all three entities involved here are willing to look at a regional approach as well as a potential, I don't know if we have to even keep the licensure transfer on the table or not. But, you know, those are at least two options, or just a status quo option. They could kind of give a future picture of what EMS, you know, how long basically it can survive as is too.
And so, until you hear back from them, you really don't want to set up a meeting?
I would prefer to kind of wait,
So,
and be patient.
If we're having a meeting in another month, possibly by then, we would be closer to the.
I could bring those three proposals to them and have them work through those. If you're, you know,
Yeah,
if everyone's in agreement with that.
The legislature, I think, meet when, Chuck, middle of February?
Yeah. I've been in communication with a lot of friends that I made down in St. Paul, a lot of them are still around. We maintain communication throughout. There's nothing to offer as concrete. There's a lot of talk, which is the way legislatures work. And I'll say this, unfortunately, when you're at the city council, here in Ely or the township boards, you got the open meeting law. You can't have 4 city councilors, and you're gonna get together for anything, if somebody's gonna complain about open meeting law. But when you go to St. Paul or Washington, there is no transparency. They all huddle in their caucuses and their communities, so it's hard to digest what is fact and what is fiction, what is political pandering. it's tough. I think it's coming together. It's coming together. I think, the legislators up here, I know, are pushing for it, all the Rams and the communities. Grant Hochschild is our state senator. I know that, Dave Lusgard's pushing for it. He's got some seniority now. You might agree or disagree with either one of them. It's time to get the diversity out of the picture and look at the problem it creates.
Well, ready?
I'd like to challenge the ambulance service board then to actually tell them what you expect from outcomes when they're talking, rather than more funding. I mean, it's easy to say we're going to give more money, but is that going to meet your expectation? Who gets the money? Where does the money go? And what are you going to do with that money? You know, I think we're to the point at EMS, within EMS, especially with the legislators, all due respect to them, but they have a tough job. If they can't answer a specific question, they're not going to resolve anything, and they're not going to meet the expectations or even tell you yes or no they can meet them if you don't define them. And so what happens if you get an answer that you don't want to hear?
It'll be the same answer Virginia and all the other ones give them, to keep you afloat. I mean,
Well-
Heidi was at that meeting there, and we have what, how many people are? They're gonna have 3 more to say, we had people there all the way from Cloquet, they're having three more of those big meetings
We were
in the
there.
state to get more money. They're all in the same shape.
Yep, we were there, and that's why I say we have to.
I mean, we got a good idea right here that Harold puts together where the money's coming from, what you need and what's running.
But that's not an innovative solution. That's not impacting change. in
One
my
more, you
opinion.
got one more last comment? I think we're sort of beating a dead horse
The
here.
reason we held off on asking for monies and redoing the 2024 budget is to get to that point where you know what your starting point is, and then come up how do we deal with it, so we can work together on a great solution. Some of that goes to legislature, some of it is definitely here at the Joint Powers Board, and all the players and everybody of interest. So, what I don't like, and I'm gonna close this up by saying, making the ambulance service look like a bunch of horses but toots doesn't settle well, period, end of story.
Okay.
Like the mayor of Virginia said, they cover 700 some miles. In Morse, how far are they gonna cover? Town of Morse alone is 700 some miles. Fall Lake is probably 700-800.
Yeah.
Part of Stony River, 6 unorganized townships, we're probably 2,000 miles. And when we take our ambulances out on these roads, they take a punishment.
Yeah. Any further, other comments? Can we move on? Did you get what you needed covered there, or Patty, I mean, it sounds like.
So,
you can see where
yep,
you're
so
going.
then just to clarify, if I heard correctly, then, at the next joint powers meeting, I will be bringing scenarios for potential solutions.
Yep,
Okay.
that sounds like a large step in the right direction, so
I
yes,
will,
sounds
okay.
great.
So with, just based on the study results.
Yep,
Okay.
yeah, so that's basically lots more information. We'll be getting information at this next meeting, which sounds great. Okay. Can we wrap this one up then? All right. Next on the old business is the building.
We still have the USDA rural development allocation appropriation of $1.3 million for the combined project of the Ely Area Ambulance Service and the Ely Fire and First Responder Building. We did have a public hearing a couple weeks back concerning the proposed project. I do have the preliminary plans here as well for those that didn't attend, but we laid out what was currently in the plans for the ambulance service building and then for the fire department building. So where we're at on it right now is our next step is to finalize our designs on the ambulance service building. In your packet is a proposal I received from TKDA today on that next phase of the project. Would cost $36,200 to finalize the plans and bring them to bid. Because right now we're just working on the preliminary feasibility report and architectural report to submit to USDA rural development. So to move towards the next step, which was to get to construction documents to go out for bids, we have to have the Joint Powers Board approve this contract.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Support.
Yep.
So, and the Joint Powers Board would be on hook for half of that, right? 15.2, is that?
Well, at this point, we would not be able to call for reimbursement until we have the project under construction. So at this time, we would need funds in the Joint Powers account to pay for the architectural services and then request reimbursement from USDA after the grants are awarded.
I get that, but aren't you
Well,
asking-
I guess I'm asking, so the city of Ely,
This is just for the ambulance.
Oh, just for the.
Just for the ambulance.
36.
Oh, I was
Correct.
confused too.
That's
Correct.
what, yeah.
Yeah, okay,
So if we were to
yeah, finally get me.
If we were to divide it like we have previous operational expenses, Winton was 4%, Ely, Morris, Fall Lake, EBCH was 24% each. That would be $1,448 from Winton, and then $8,688 from each other entity. With the caveat that if successful, when the project is bid out, we get the award of the grant, we request reimbursement on that, so.
Yeah, which is how we've done it up till now, right?
Yep, with the expectation that it'll go to bid, we'll be under construction, we'll get the grant.
So that was the discussion.
Yeah, if I could, my misconception was that 15.2 is gonna be the contract, administration, so.
That would
the
be
final part.
afterwards, sure. So the Joint Powers Board has been awarding this work on a phased approach as we work through the project. So if at any point in time something changed, we didn't have a contract awarded for work that wasn't going to be completed.
Okay, and so this 36.2 would need to be billed out to the Joint Powers members.
Correct, correct, correct.
In the 32.4.
80,000 something.
Yeah, 86, 88 for 4 entities and 1,448 for Winton. I mean, currently we have some funds in our operation budget, but obviously by the end we'll have expended more than the 24/7 for the funds we currently have budgeted.
And upon receiving the grant, this amount should be refunded to the entities.
Building design is a reimbursable expense.
So we have that motion on the table, right? And a second?
Can I,
Yeah.
Just
I
one
made the
question.
motion.
is a donation a reimbursable expense?
I believe it would be, because we bring it into joint powers.
Okay, because
I don't know
I'll,
how it wouldn't be,
okay, I'm just, because I'll have to bring forward to
certainly.
our board, so.
Yeah, that seems reasonable if it's reimbursable.
So all the expenses are via joint powers,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
it'll be reimbursed to joint powers, and then what joint powers does with the funds going back to the entities, I think would be the proper route.
Yep, okay. Who's all in favor of this?
Aye.
Aye. Nobody opposed? Motion carries. So is this like you're sending out, you'll send a bill?
Correct, correct, like we had done at the last meeting. And we will get this phase 2 submitted and continue the process, for getting, approval from USDA Rural Development. That was about the only thing I had concerning the building. We also had selling the stove on there, but we'll just keep putting on there, maybe somebody will find somebody who wants that stove. I mean, maybe if Dusty wants to throw it up on Marketplace or something, maybe we have further, exposure than our auction, but I don't know.
Where do we have it for sale right now?
We don't. We put it out for auction. We got a bid of, do you remember what it was, $125 or something? Yeah, and it's obviously worth more than that, so.
So we're still,
I did 200.
Yeah.
maybe that's.
All that's Dokutovich.
Hey, you never know.
Where's it at, do you know?
He's got it in the shed, don't you?
Down there.
I'll bring a doctor or something.
Bring a proposal to the next meeting. I'm sure Joint Powers will be open.
Marlene, I spoke at the, I'm Larry Polyner, I live in Ely, but I have the adjacent property in the town of Morse also, so I pay taxes to both entities, that's why I'm here tonight. I wanted to talk about the building. I have no problem with the building or anything like that. My problem is where you're putting it. You're paying, right now, as I understand it, the ambulances are all stored in the building, waiting for this new building. And with that said, as I spoke at the public hearing that the city of Ely had, the first thing I said is that the people that chose this site for the ambulance service need to be commended. Fantastic, good location, it has everything you need. Because the ambulances are stored in there right now, that implies you have adequate storage space for an ambulance. You don't need another building there.
In your
You're
opinion.
You're looking at, what you call it, a training room. So the way I look at it is you're paying $650,000 for a training room, not a storage room for the facility. But also with the uncertainty with the hospital where they may take it, since 1996, 28 years, whatever it is, you haven't had a meeting room. You know, so there's meeting rooms around town, I addressed all that at every meeting and so on. But the bottom line is, should it go back to the hospital, you now have a brand new building that you have to abandon. You're not gonna have any use for it. To me, that's very irresponsible, kind of foolish. What I'm asking is that you would consider taking this building and putting it out on your site at 88, where you have ample space. It's 5 minutes from the ambulance building right now, if you go down Pioneer Road in section 26. So if you had to do a quick, I'm not familiar with the policies, with the procedures with the ambulance service, but if you had to transfer them back and forth, it's a 5-minute drive. If you lose the building, if you build a building in Ely, and it goes back to the hospital, and you lose it, you have nothing. You just paid $650,000 for a building that's gonna be it's gonna be empty in Ely. You may try to sell it, and you're gonna get $80,000 for it. The federal government may come back and say, we want our money back, because they're not gonna allow you to build a garage. If you build a site out at the, on 88 where your current fire hall is, it's close. At that point, if you need this meeting room or training room, you can change the configuration of, Harold was saying now they haven't submitted the final 40-some thousand for the plans yet. But you could build something that you actually need, something that you could use, and not just build it because all of a sudden you have $650,000 and you gotta do something with it. Out there, should you lose the buildings in town, that's gonna be there forever, and you can do it for storage. You can put, like I say, you can put your training room in, do whatever you want, but you're gonna have it forever. Again, if you build an Ely, besides this 50,000, which we'd have to do there too, you have to demolish the buildings that are there. That's gonna be probably 40,000. The city of Ely just paid 50,000 to do because of the railroad presence there, before you put a building in, you're gonna have to confirm that there's not oil-soaked grounds, creosote, old dynamite. So you're gonna have another expense building the town, plus you're paying the city of Ely utilities all the time. Out there, you're not gonna have that, so it cuts your costs down in the long run. But the bottom line is, to me, it's very irresponsible, and very foolish to throw the building up there, and then 3 years down the road, you have nothing. Thank you.
That building out there, Larry, would cost us $1.5 million to $1.8 million.
If you take the same building, you don't have to build a massive one.
Where are you gonna get your water and sewer from?
Well, where do you get it now?
We got wells in that out there. Is Ely gonna run it out there?
Well, if you have a well out there,
Right.
and if it was cold storage, you wouldn't need it, but, if you have a well out there and you have the power, you can run it underground. Put this other building, I don't care if you put it 100 feet away, you can run the water line underground, insulate it, and you have everything out there. The cost would be,
Over $1 million. That building cost us 800, 900,000, 12, 14 years ago. What do you think that cost is gonna cost us now?
well, I'm not saying to build a
In the last 2 or
12
3 years, the school found out in 1 year, it went up 28%, the cost of material in 1 year.
Oh, sure.
1 year.
Yeah.
It's gonna cost you way over $1 million out there. Where are you gonna get that money?
What I'm saying, Pudge, is don't build a building in Ely because you're trying to squeeze it into the site. Build it out at that site, you're gonna have it forever. You're not gonna lose it, you're not gonna have to pay $650,000 back to the government if you don't use it.
Larry, when we bought that building, okay,
Which one?
the one down there where it's at now, we did not know that we were gonna get a grant money. Right here, we did not know until
Okay.
9 months later that we're gonna get it.
Yeah, that has nothing
And
to do with Pudge.
it does plenty, because we were renting up there from the hospital, no toilets or nothing there.
Yeah, no, this is fantastic.
It's
That
fantastic.
building is, like I say, that's an attaboy for whoever came up with the idea. That's fantastic. You're on, Central Avenue, you're on 169, you're no residential areas to go through with the ambulance. And you have, everything now is adequate there for the folk. I haven't been in it, and I don't, it's none of my business. But, the people are staying there now, and it has all the facilities. All I'm saying, the bottom line, and what I'm trying to say is, don't take the amount of money you're gonna put into the building there and put it at that site. Put it out at your other site. Utilities are
Yep,
nothing.
okay.
We're not gonna have enough money there.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
put it out there.
Thanks,
Please.
thanks,
Okay.
Tell them, Aaron, what it would
thanks.
cost.
Okay,
One square foot.
Huh?
sure.
Would you tell me who was speaking? I didn't get a name of who was speaking.
Larry Polyner.
Oh, okay, all right, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Our board is not gonna make a decision here today, and it's typically the only decisions on new information that we can study the back of it. And one comment is, Morse and Fall Lake purchased the building. They have an investment there. We went forward with a grant application. We have a federal grant. I don't know, Harold, you can speak to this, but I'd say your chances to transfer that money from that grant over to something in town of Morse are between slim and none.
Yeah.
Legislators don't like that. If you don't give them you don't honor what they give you, you're not gonna get it anymore.
Yeah,
I add one thing.
sure.
And the building itself, although it's been workable for them, there are definite improvements they have to make it compliant. The building itself doesn't work, and adding that extra garage into the back, which I think was part of your concern, that's only a portion of it. There's code compliance issues that they have to do to this building to get it up to date.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay,
200-some thousand, Larry. Fix that building up for showers and everything else. when they're in.
Okay, can we move on? Next, 2024 ambulance subsidy.
That's not the week.
That's,
I thought we kind of addressed that.
we did, I guess it's in here, in two different places, that's why, I'm just reading down the list here. Here.
You should
Okay.
have their agenda prepared.
So, new business. Well, TDK, I'm jumping one. TKDA proposal, we already have done that. The other one, that we have on here was conflict of interest. That's me, wanted to have that on the agenda just to talk about a little bit, the way things are going, and, to me, it feels like a conflict of interest to have a person on the Joint Powers Board and the ambulance board when we're dealing with things and with each other. I don't know if that's, if legally it's a conflict of interest or not, it's just sort of uncomfortable to me. So I just wanted to bring it up at a meeting. I
It's
don't know.
legal.
Okay, it is. That's what I say, I don't know if it is or not, I'm just saying, I just wanted to bring it up at a meeting and point out that to me, it's a little bit uncomfortable. Go ahead, Chuck.
I would say, Mr. Marini is the point here. He's elected by the citizens of the town of Morse onto the town board to make good decisions. The town board has exercised their discretion and also has them on the ambulance service and on the joint powers. Totally above board.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with it, I just wanted to add a meeting, bring up that point, I don't know if anybody else has that opinion or not, but I wanted to at least bring it up at a meeting.
Only when he pisses me off.
There you go, Scott. Okay, well,
I'll comment on it if you
Sure.
don't mind.
yeah,
It is a little bit more uncomfortable, but in a community our size, sometimes it's necessary, and I, in this case, it may or may not be, I'm not involved in town of Morris, and if that's what it takes, that's like Chuck said, it's their choice,
Sounds more of a decision between the board.
yeah, so yes, I would prefer if it wasn't, but in our community, it may be required, I don't know. You know, I don't know what town of Morris has to put forth, and I'm okay with what they put forward, even though I would prefer if it was otherwise, but it'd be nice to have two different people.
yeah. Well, okay, that's kind of why I wanted to bring it up, I just didn't know if I was the only one that had that thought, so. Anyway, anybody else? I think that's all of our agenda items at this point. Besides picking a next meeting date in a month. Let's just see where that takes us. A month would be what, 26th of February?
26, is that too long for the ambulance service?
No.
Is that too long for?
Is that long enough for you?
Or
Is
the
it
hospital?
long enough for you guys?
I will be flexible and make it work, I'm fine.
Okay, well,
And I
anybody?
do have my township audit on that day, but it starts at 6:30.
26 is okay.
That's gonna be fun.
So, everybody's okay with that? Nick, Nick, are you good with that one?
Is that 4 o'clock?
Yeah.
Yeah, then I can do it.
What was the date again? February 26th, 4 p.m.
Madam Chair, I have a question. This is Terry Zerber again.
Go ahead.
He stated that the 2024 budget has been approved by the Joint Powers Board. Do each of the entities, as in Morris, Ely, Fall Lake, don't they have to approve this budget prior to this?
We didn't approve it.
That was
We didn't
facility
approve it, we just-
operation.
Yeah,
You got it wrong, Terry.
yeah, we just, how did that go?
Facility operation
Operations
budget.
budget.
Right,
There.
not the ambulance subsidy.
Yeah,
Not the ambulance power board budget?
No,
No,
Okay, then I heard it wrong. I'm sorry.
that's okay. Good to ask now.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. All right, anybody have any other business to bring up?